So we don't often hear from you, and of course it's always very interesting to hear about what measures are being taken or not, as the case may be, when it comes to stability in the yuan.
Yeah, that's right, Heidi. We do rarely hear from Gang on the global stage, but he has been in Washington over the past week for the IMF and the World Bank meetings. And on Saturday, he spoke at the Peterson Institute. Now, the headline is what you just said there. Essentially, really grabbing people's attention is that the PBOC, Gang says, has largely retreated from regular intervention in the yuan. Is it freely convertible? No, that wasn't the case that Gang was making. He says, though, it's primarily determined by the market. So not quite free from intervention, and he also didn't provide a date either from when we could expect that to happen. But from Gang's own perspective, he says that when you look at history, markets versus the central bank, well, it's sooner or later it is the markets that win out in the forces of the currency in the end.
So, Mel, what is currently the PBOC's fundamental and basic policy for the Chinese yuan?
So it's essentially about increasing the ease of use, particularly for Chinese households. And actually, Gang, when he spoke at this institute, shared his own personal experience from many years ago of being frustrated when he had to turn to a friend to help him exchange the yuan for foreign currency. So Chinese households, he says that they can exchange up to $50,000 a year into foreign currency. He says that 99% of those households, they aren't reaching that quota, so it's clearly not a constraint. But when he spoke about the US-China exchange rate, he said that is largely in equilibrium, no sudden or large capital flight there. So really underscoring broadly in the speech Beijing's resolve to increase the yuan's global presence. But when you do talk about on a global stage, you could also really point to what we've heard from the US Treasury, and that has been continued criticisms toward China for its lack of transparency in how it manages its exchange rate. But certainly some very interesting and rare comments that we got from Gang over the weekend, Sherry.